Yeah, thanks, Adam, for that Chris Paul analogy. That was great. Um, Thank you all for joining in this evening. With all the Zoom events you all have and the ensuing Zoom fatigue that follows, I appreciate you taking time out of your evening just to listen to these speeches. I'd like to say good luck to Basil, and I look forward to our debate tomorrow. I'd like to thank the current GBA board, and I'd especially like to thank Melissa Bizzari, our current president, for really showing me the invaluable ways of how the GBA works. So this pandemic has really turned all of our lives upside down. Feels like we've been in this weird purgatory for so long now. I mean, just 1 year ago, almost exactly a year ago, I was attending Diversity Weekend. I was interviewing with admissions. I was meeting many of you. I was attending a TWIB event in the auditorium. And I was having beers thinking to myself how awesome it was that we get free food and free drinks at the end of the week. Missing out on those types of experiences has been less than ideal for many of us. I remember first getting the realization we weren't going to have a normal year once Welcome Weekend was canceled. And it was upsetting knowing that the MBA experience that so many people before us had wasn't going to be the experience that we were going to have. I'm sure many of you share that feeling as well. Despite that, though, the administration did change our experience to adjust to a virtual environment. But the decisions made to adjust that program, it wasn't made in a vacuum. The GBA, and more largely the student body, really helped shape those decisions. And that's what really attracted me to GBA and ultimately what pushed me to become a member of the academic committee as a junior board member. The GBA has done a really great job so far in helping our experience be as painless as possible. But unlike last year, this year we started off in a virtual environment. And we've had the better part of a better part of a semester to understand what works and what doesn't work. As your GBA president, I would lead the effort to further improve your experience in three main categories: academic, professional, and social. In terms of academics, you've already experienced some of the changes. The GBA provided feedback to Kate Bearclaw, head of the MBA program, and Wendy Herman, to implement things like having breaks during 80-minute long Zoom sessions and having the TA monitor the chat box so that the class, and more importantly, the professor, don't get derailed by the conversation. These are small things, but they really help our learning experience. One particular feat that I'm proud of that the academic committee was able to achieve was to present a streamlined version of Canvas. So you don't have to do mental and digital gymnastics just to get to an assignment based on that class. As far as professional development, well, that's probably the most affected factor of the MBA experience from the pandemic. We're so used to in-person recruiting that suddenly having to do it in a virtual environment, it feels foreign and awkward. Some of you have already gone through the recruiting process and have a job and internship offers, but many of us, including myself, are still going through that recruiting process. And I plan to lead the effort to change it to make it better, not only for ourselves, but potentially for the class of 2023. And finally, and arguably most importantly, social activities. One of the most important parts of an MBA experience is the network that you build and the relationships that you develop with your colleagues and peers. Unfortunately, we haven't really had that opportunity to build those relationships in an organic way, simply due to the restrictions in place. As some of you may remember, the academic committee sent out a survey at the end of Mini 1. And one of the questions we asked was, how can we improve events, in-person events, to not only be more inclusive, but continue to be safe? The feedback that we received was interesting and surprising, actually. Many of you said, let's just have events outside and just wear a coat. Listening to this kind of feedback really helped us gauge what you all were thinking. And this leads me to my final point. My most important duty as president is to be the voice of the MBA class. I have ideas and I have ideas as to how they can be implemented. However, ultimately it is you all who I'll be reaching out to and all of us who will be shaping our experience going forward. Unfortunately, this pandemic may not be over as soon as we all would like. But we nonetheless have an opportunity to change our experience that not only prime us for success right now, but once we're out in the workforce. This pandemic really has changed everything. And lessons that we learn now during our MBA experience, we can take into our organizations to make a real impact. I've had a great pleasure speaking to so many of you so far, whether that be through classes or club events. And I've heard what many of you are thinking. But I have yet to hear from many of you, and I plan on hearing on what all of you are thinking. We have an opportunity here to really change and improve our experience in the best way possible given our circumstances. There's a lot of work to do, but as your president, I assure you I will put my utmost effort in making sure that we have the best experience possible going forward. Thank you all, and I look forward to working with you.